Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Friday Night Frenzy. I am your host, Nick, where everything is canon. And the topics, say...
Guidelines than actual rules.
One day I'll actually get that correct. So let's bring our buddies in, shall we? So first off, we have the master himself.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
It would help if I actually bring him in.
Yeah, Nick, the way that those work, it's only an intro if you actually bring in the person you're supposed to introduce.
Oh, so let's do this properly then.
I don't care. I ship it.
How are you doing, Nix? How you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
I was about to say it would be hilarious if he again forgot to bring you in. He just played the intro.
That would indeed be hilarious. Not gonna lie. I'm doing pretty good. So let's bring in our next one, shall we?
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Welcome back, Huron.
It's good to be back, Nick.
It is good, and someone who never has to come back because they're always there.
And I have my mind, and a mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone.
How's it going, everyone?
Yeah, how are you doing, Chris? So let's kind of start off by saying I'm going to bring this back. I haven't asked this question in a long ass time. What you playing, playa?
Oh wow, yeah, that is a flashback. Jeez.
Oh dear God. So Jared, what you been playing?
Well, actually, Halo Infinite had like a massive influx of players, so I was because the new update launched, and I played it, and it is awesome. I actually performed pretty well in Halo, and I'm like, I'm not used to this.
Well, that is very prescient that we're talking about multiplayer games. So when we get to you, please feel free to include that in your discussion. Nix, what have you been playing, playa?
Right now, until I find my controller, I have been playing Stardew Valley.
That is a good game. I remember playing that on my Switch. So yeah. And then Chris, what have you been playing?
Oh God. So I saw a Twitter post yesterday that was celebrating the 29th anniversary of Shining Force. So I basically fired up my good old emulator and played the Game Boy version or the Game Boy Advance version, which is much newer but superior in every way, in my opinion. I haven't gotten very far, but that's what I'm playing.
You really are shining in the darkness, aren't you?
Yes.
All right. And then lastly, Sharon, what have you been playing with besides Ladies' Hearts?
Oh, believe me, I wish I was a lady killer, Nick. But honestly,
I've been that Christmas fat, brother.
But I usually have ADD when it comes to my video games. I'll hop from one to the other, but I don't know. For some reason, recently I've been on a bit of a Mass Effect kick, so I've been jumping back into the Legendary Edition.
There you go, dude. Nice taste.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, just don't stop before you get to the last hour of Mass Effect 3.
Oh dear.
Hey! I think it's improved.
It could have been better.
They improved it by literally adding an option C. Yes. They really did.
No, Nick.
Yeah, now you're
they
purple.
added an entire they called it the director's cut, I think, and it adds in like a bunch more cutscenes that actually expand on the endings. Yeah.
I'm Commander Shepard, and Screecher is my favorite comic on the Citadel.
Yeah.
Oh dear God, yeah. I have way too much fun with these memes. I gotta say, guys, like it's crazy.
Oh, yeah, I've been making my way through the first Mass Effect game again, and honestly, it's a really good one to just kind of open up a podcast on the side when you're not like deep into the story, like when you're into the side content. And so
Mhm.
you basically kind of have like a podcast going on in the background where you're shooting down Gather Cerberus.
Oh
The
my
good old
god,
time.
that is my favorite way to game. Is like I'll have like a handheld game. I'll listen to a podcast or like a Ask Reddit thread on YouTube, and I just zone out with gaming. I'll be playing Pokemon or whatnot, or just any sort of game.
Dweeb.
It is like, or even like I'll just be playing RuneScape and just have some music blaring in my head. It is literally my favorite thing to get.
That's right, Nick. Demonstrate how old you are.
I mean,
Well,
the
I mean,
game is literally old school RuneScape.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, I
well-
love that.
It also depends on what game I'm playing because, for example, if I'm playing Wind Waker, I am 100% like zoned in on the game because I don't want even just the OST. I just want to sit there and vibe to listening to Dragon Roost Island and Forest Haven. Like that stuff is my bread and butter, man.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what we're here. So we're talking about gaming and whatnot. Let's just kind of kick it off with Jared, since he's the old head here.
That
So,
says
Jared.
the oldest person here.
Actually, I'm not the oldest person here.
Well, to me, you're the oldest person here. All right. So this game was pretty much my life for many years, ever since I was like 10 years old. So what we're watching right now is this gameplay from Halo Reach. We're playing some big team battle. And the thing about Halo, back when it was consistently good, it's getting back to that point. It was like one of those games where you could just screw around with your friends for like hours and hours and hours, and the weirdest stuff would happen. Like I remember once my friend and I were playing campaign, and we're driving in the Warthog, and that's that Jeep with the machine gun that just drove off. So we take out two enemies. He goes, "Okay, what guns do those guys have?" I'm like, "It's basically a sniper rifle." And he goes, "Sniping sucks." And then the AI, unbeknownst to him, the AI in the game goes, "I heard that, you jackass."
Oh dear God!
It was the most hilarious case of like opportune timing ever. And the thing about this, what I really you're showing, yeah, exactly, Nick.
That can be arranged.
That was Nick's first game. But anyway, but what's fun about the other thing that's really fun about Halo is that for the longest time, by the way, most of the innovations that come from like first-person shooters come from Halo, like the recharging guns. The way certain things are, the way certain things are like,
Chris,
set up.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Well, when you see the multiplayer examples that I gave, that they're somewhat older, and you'll see a lot of things that Halo leveraged. In them.
Okay.
Like for example, without GoldenEye 64, there would be no Halo.
Mhm.
GoldenEye 64 pioneered first-person shooters on the console because the thing you got to realize is before GoldenEye, first-person shooters did not really work well on the console. GoldenEye proved that GoldenEye walked so Halo could run.
Yeah, that, and
By
I
the
still
way-
think that a PC shooter's best played on a PC. Mouse and keyboard for life.
Nick, Mr. Pancake is in the chat.
We got some pancakes. We got some pancake action going on.
For those that don't know what that is, so Nick and I were on a stream with Taladia, and he was playing the new Spider-Man game, and he's swinging into like a fight, and he literally forgets to hit the swinging button again and just smacks right into the ground and dies.
Jared, you should have clipped that and like linked it.
Oh, I'm gonna clip it. I'm gonna clip it. That's gonna be his new intro for a week.
So, if you want a recreation of it,
But my point is that with this game, Halo is also, here's the thing, the first game where I really like got into like the lore. Oh God, I remember this. This sucks.
No. So this is what happened on stream, but it's a recreation of it.
Wow, look at those eyes.
So yes, that literally is Taladia right there. That is Taladia.
She saw some shit. She knew what was coming.
But but those eyes, those really crappy character models, like jeez.
So, but seriously though, real people, they know the old lore.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God.
That's what my dad used to play. But the thing is, it's because I didn't know until I started reading the novels how like deep and expansive Halo's lore gets into. Like before I was a DC fan, I was really like I read like all the Halo books and everything like that. So that's the other piece of lore I consider myself a scholar in.
Nice.
So we cannot quote the old magic to you. You were there when it was written.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. But it's kind of funny. Also, Halo was my first M-rated game because my dad and I'm really gonna date myself, but screw it. My dad and I were in Blockbuster, and Halo 3 had just come out, and every one of my friends was telling me, "You got to play Halo 3. You got to play Halo 3." Because up until that point, my favorite game was the classic Battlefront 2. So I pick up the game.
Just
it's
like
rated
the
M.
simulations.
Yeah, it was rated M, and my parents back then, my mom was a little more strict in terms of like what games I played. It was kind of funny when they made Halo 5 T for teen. Here's the thing: Halo is not exactly the most M-rated game ever because it's like it's just like blood and guns. So many games that are rated T have that, and there's even no F-bomb in Halo. So I'm like, okay, there you go.
Yeah, I've heard some discussion like if Halo 1 came out today, it would have been rated T for teen, probably.
It would have been rated T for teen.
One of the things the ESRB would rate as an M is if you leave a blood decal on the walls, like right there. Those splats on that's a M rate right there, unless they've changed it since I was working.
They probably did, but so I got Halo 3 because my dad was like, "You're good." My dad was one of those guys that let's put this way. My mom wouldn't let me go see the Resident Evil movies in theaters because she thought zombies were demonic. My dad goes, "No, let's go." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." But anyway, so your
dad is cool. Your dad.
I started on Halo 3, by the way. So when I went to play Halo 1 next, I went from 3 to 1. A certain alien race were our allies in 3, but our enemies in 1. So I'm like, why are you shooting me? I thought we were friends.
Why can't we be friends?
Exactly. But plus the fact, growing up, I spent a fair amount of time like in the hospital and like off my legs for like a good portion. And this was like the way that I could still hang out and air quote, jump around with my friends still. Plus, my friends, we would like legit like make our own entire Halo storylines just in the multiplayer where we had like 4-player split screen. It was some good times. Good times.
So what you're saying is you made stories. I'm trying to pull up a certain thing. So what you're saying,
Nick, the way it works is that yes, exactly. So here's the OG Halo footage, which I still play because the fun part about the Master Chief Collection, which was basically it was an anthology of games that it had like. First, it started off. It had the 4 Halo games that had the Master Chief in it. Then it had one of the worst launches in gaming history. So to make up for it, 343 gave you Halo ODST, which was an expansion for 3 for free. But the cool part about it is that they gave you every single Halo map, even the exclusive like maps and vehicles and weapons that were for the PC version of Halo. And what was really cool, there's this map. I wish I sent you gameplay of this where it's just a bunch of teleporters and everyone can get flamethrowers. And the funny part about it is that you don't know.
Combat!
What?
I said Portal Combat.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know if someone's on the other side of the portal. So my friend and I would be like waiting on the other side of the teleporters, like, do we go? Do we go? And then we would like rush out and then just get completely murdered with flamethrowers.
You know, this really does bring a lot of people back when all that matters is the battle of red versus blue.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
And speaking of iconic maps, you have Blood Gulch, was like it's a simple. See, this is back when games were could do more with less. Because look at this map; it's just a couple of catwalks, a cave, a long ass stretch of road, and 2 bases. That is it. And you have
Bungie made this map in a cave with a box of scraps.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why Halo is like one of the most iconic multiplayer games like of all time. It's the maps and the game loop of this has stuck around for so long. In fact, one of the devs, this is a funny story I'll tell you. He was driving to a LAN party. He had like a bunch of TVs and computers and Xboxes in his trunk. He speeds and gets pulled over by a cop. So he's like, is the cop gonna think I just stole these and I'm trying to escape? So the cop asks, where are you heading in such a hurry? He goes, oh, I'm going to a Halo LAN party. And then the guy goes, Blood Gulch or High End? and then the cop just lets him go. So I'm like, first off, that's a cool cop. But second off, and the thing about this is that the amount of game modes that they would also add into this, because you have like for one thing, Griffball, you have Infection, where like it gets hectic because the way Infection works is that one person is it one person? Yeah, one person has a sword and they're like a zombie. You have to infect the other players. If you're the last player, it turns into any scene from any zombie movie where the one guy is like charging and getting away. It gets like the most insane stuff ever.
So real quick, hey Keely Chow, how we're going? We're talking about our multiplayer memories here.
And I will never forget it. Back when I lived in Atlanta, I had a friend of mine who lived up the block from me. Like at the end of my development, I was more deeper in, and he and I would just play Halo like every Saturday, to the point where he would call up, "Hey, we still hanging out today? Yeah, come on over. Let's go do this."
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that, because it's like you have the most some of the most iconic music. Because if you're a dude that's like between the ages of like 20 and 30 and you hear that music, you know what that's referencing.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you can just hear like the da-da-da-da and you're like, oh, okay, you're playing the Halo. Yes, thank you, Keely. Thank you, Keely. But
yeah, it's so recognizable that you can't not tell what it is.
Yeah. And the story, by the way, behind the Gregorian chant thing is that, so when they were in the concepts design stage, so the composer was told, okay, so we want music, but we want it to be like ancient and mysterious. So he goes, the Gregorian monks actually sounds very ancient and mysterious. And I'm like, interesting. Yeah. And what's cool, I'll tell you another story. So when they were developing Halo 2, so they got like a demo like all together for E3, and by the way, what's kind of fun is that for the MCC, they're releasing the demo as a playable part of the game, so you can play the original demo from E3. So that's cool. But anyway, when they get back,
I need to flex on you for a moment. So that's a picture of me from 2009. That's the composer of Halo.
That's Marty O'Donnell?
I think so. It's one of the guys from Halo.
I see Tommy.
But
yeah, he's more into Intellivision now. If you know.
Yeah.
So E3 goes off without a hitch. It's great. They wowed the audience because that was when like boarding and dual wielding became a thing. Which, if you're going from Halo 1 to 2, that's a big push. So anyway, they get back. They discover that the demo can't be played on a base Xbox. So they literally have to recreate the game from scratch.
Ouch.
In a relatively short period, to the point where, do you know why Halo 2 has an abrupt ending? Because I got news for you. They had to cut half the game out because to reach their deadline. So that's pretty much what Halo 3 is. Halo 3 is what they wanted to do in Halo 2.
Yeah, did you ever see the original? No, I'm not talking about the RTS, but like the original, game CD video demo that they showed.
Oh, you want like
Was
a
that
you want
was that the one that was originally supposed to be on the Mac?
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be a sequel or a spiritual successor to Marathon.
Yeah,
the something of Durandal or whatever. But
Mhm.
like they had this awesome cinematic like demo video that accompanied a lot of the gaming PC mags back in the day, and it was like it had like fauna in it. Like they showed like the warthog driving, and there's like a brontosaurus and shit. I'm like, where the hell is that?
The coolest I've ever seen. This game is going to ship early next year from Bungie, and this is the first time anybody has ever seen it. It's the first time they've debuted it. And so I'm very happy to welcome on the stage Jason Jones, who is the co-founder of Bungie and the Halo project lead. Halo
How
is the name of
crazy
this
is this?
game, and we're going to see
Mhm.
for the first time Halo. Welcome, Jason.
Steve got promoting
Everything
Halo.
you're about to see
Yeah, I know.
is being
And then it
On
would
a
become a
Mac.
Microsoft game.
on
That's the
Mac
funny
and
part.
Yep.
using OpenGL.
And the fun part is that they didn't know if the game was going to properly play when they hit play. He's like holding his breath, like, please work, please work, please work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, this was one of the first times that, like, in an FPS, you could go from an interior environment seamlessly to an exterior environment to the point where everyone was like, wait, what? Because one of the most iconic parts of Halo is in the second mission. You hop out of an escape pod, and then the world just opens up in front of you. And because the thing about the way they design like the levels in Halo, it was as close to open world as you could get. Like you could approach a campaign encounter in like 8 different unique ways. In fact, I'm still finding new ways to like approach a different combat encounter. And those are the really old elites. So I'm like, yeah, that's really really interesting. But it's just the way that they designed Halo is that it's pretty much as close to a freedom game, as I call them, as you could possibly get at the time.
Well,
Yeah.
when you see the one of the games that I listed, it's came out about I don't know 5-6 years earlier.
Which one
You're
is
going to
it?
see a lot of the
Oh.
same stuff.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
It's-
So Jared, thank you for we
no
dedicated a lot of time to Halo. I want
Hell
to
yeah.
move on
It's a
to
great game.
Go ahead.
like that is a lot of really good stuff, and I do appreciate that. I just want to get to other people's.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
All right, Chris, you're up.
Sweet. So this was my first kind of foray into massive multiplayer shooting.
Hey, Shane.
This is Star Siege Tribes 2, the sequel to Star Siege Tribes. And this game rocked my world because at the time I was in university and
What
I was
year did this come out?
This is late 90s, I think 97, 98.
Yeah,
And,
I just want to get that for context.
Yeah, so yeah, 97, 98. And it's totally a PC game. So basically this was kind of around the renaissance of PC gaming where the hardware
I love the
accelerated
bunny
video
hopping.
cards.
I love the bunny hopping. That is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, well that's kind of like the meta of the game is to build momentum. So it's all about skiing. Like you're holding the jump button to slide down. the thing. And like you got like a disc launcher. It's like your rocket launcher, but the disc can actually skip across water and stuff. And here those little stations, he just changed his class essentially in the game, and it gives him new weapon loadouts. And the thing that blew me away about this game though was it was a PC game. It ran on anything with a decent hardware accelerated video card, which granted was a lot to ask in the mid to late 90s, but we had on the computer clusters at my university, we had Voodoo 3 and Voodoo 2 video cards.
Oh wow, that's ballin'.
Yeah, which ran this game like perfectly smooth. And here's the kicker: 64 simultaneous players.
Wow.
Two teams of 32.
Just put the Voodoo 3 into context. Having a Voodoo 3 in 97, 98 would be like having a 4070, 4080 today.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and like this game introduced us to interior, exterior combat. Like he might not go into it, but that little building you can actually go into, and there's a basement, and there's like a power station that he has to destroy. That little thing that he just tried to get into was a vehicle summoning thing where you can actually go in and summon a vehicle, and he's gonna. I don't know. Oh, actually, I think he just healed himself, but you can summon various vehicles, and there are these things called the Shrikes, which were kind of like that purple flying ship from the Covenant in Halo, but only it had wings, and you would a skilled player could keep two of his fellow players on the wings who were snipers and just bring the plane up into high altitudes, hover, and have two snipers just using it as a giant sniper roost.
That is so dope.
I kind of want to see Jared try and play Tribes with Chris and just get his butt whooped, but he has a good time because I feel like Jared would like this game.
Yeah, honestly, it's been like almost 20 years since I played this, but it is like you can see where it inspired Halo in a lot of stuff, but like this, in my opinion, was a good time to be the gamer, where there weren't services, there was no DLC, modded stuff in, and some of these weapons that you're seeing in this game were actually mods from the original Star Siege Tribes that people went, that's actually a good idea. Let's do this, and the production team ended up hiring these modders to make work on their games.
I mean, you got to remember, this is an era where companies like Valve would literally hire modders as their production people when making like Halo, and like when stuff like Counter-Strike came out, that was like, no, we're gonna shut you down. No, they actually bought the team and bought the rights to the game because it was that good. Like you got to remember, this is that era.
Yeah, and having we never quite were able to get, because what I did was, and if the university ever found out, they'd probably kill me, but I'm not going to tell you the university.
He's right here. He's right here. Come and get him.
So this was also back in the day when you could easily spawn or pirate versions of the game. So what we did was we installed the game on all of the computer clusters at my university, and we couldn't get it up to 64 concurrent players, but we got it damn close. It was like, I think it was like 48 or 49 or what. Like basically, It was like two teams of like 20 something, and
Lord, that's pure chaos.
No. Well, that's the thing, is the maps are so big, and you have multiple objectives. You had these and the thing is the computer clusters were in different buildings. So like when one team was in one building, and you heard you'd hear yeah, and then you'd hear the other building like from across the wall.
That's great.
And yeah, it was so I miss this. Like, it breaks my heart because this was before Halo became like the console de facto shooter. This was the land game. I mean, I know we talk about Quake and or Quake 3 and Unreal and Doom, but like this was the ultra mega one where you could get 64 concurrent players, and just the chorus of agony and the chorus of cheers from the two different teams was, I have yet to experience anything like that. Like
Parrothead, Chris, Parrothead is calling you out.
I need the little blue pill.
My miracle pill for the middle-aged man.
Yeah. I would love to have seen, they try to do revivals with this game and everything, but in all actuality, it's a zeitgeist. It's a product of its time.
Yeah, that's a problem where it's like they tried nowadays this would be classified as a boomer shooter, but like they tried bringing back what was it? They tried bringing back a lot of these classic games a couple times, and outside of ports of games or like new experiences in the old skin, people don't really seem to respond to like new games in the series. Like you re-release Quake, yeah, everyone is happy. They'll go back and play Quake, or like you release Dusk, a game that is modeled after Quake with new experience. People are over it, but you do a Quake 5, not many people seem to be interested in the Quake 5.
Yeah.
It's a weird dichotomy.
It's a shame because it's like, it would be nice to get a time travel machine and go back in time to show like the youngins, what where everything came from, because there's a lot of things, a lot of lessons that have been forgotten by time, that modern developers could have really benefited from seeing what worked in these old games, and obviously, you know, what didn't. I mean, the best mistakes to learn from are somebody else's, but like how you were talking about how GoldenEye was the console shooter that walked so that Halo could run. I would even say that this was like Tribes and all that were what crawled, so GoldenEye could walk. You know, it's that evolutionary step just before we got into the console-centric shooters.
Well, plus, I would also love to show people these games to say this is what it was like when they actually released a completed game.
Yeah. Oh, and the free mods, like that was part of the fun. Is somebody did there was a game called Battlefield 1942 that came out around I'd say probably about 5 years after this. That was very similar.
I mean, that series never went anywhere. No one's heard of that.
Well, no, the OG one though. But a lot of people bought it because there was a G.I. Joe mod. And suddenly, you got to see like Cobra vehicles and your generic Cobra characters.
I remember the Vietnam. I remember. I used to be a big watcher of like Screensavers, Tech TV back in the day, and they had their LAN party, and they'd actually be running Battlefield 1942 with the Vietnam mod on it. And
I'm telling you, Nick, it seems like they were keeping some bad company. Nick is just jealous. He didn't think of that pun before I did.
What? Bad company cubed?
No, I would just like I would, you know, this definitely should be a museum exhibit.
Chris, I have something I need to say to Jared.
Fuck off, Bud.
And you know what? It's all good, dude. As long as there you go. Because trust it doesn't make it any more true, Nick. Your jealousy is just seething through you.
Oh no.
All right, everyone. Chill.
Hey, Freeze. I'm Batman. That is the worst introduction of Batman I've.
Yes.
All right. We're moving on with this one. Let's see here. I'm going to talk about something that I like. So, like I mentioned GoldenEye. We got to bring this up.
You my dweeb clip.
I don't have the dweeb clip, thankfully. So GoldenEye was like, if you were a kid or even a teenager in like the late 90s, this was the game.
Yep.
Right? It doesn't matter. College dorm rooms, kids, whatever. You played this game. It was everything. And it was the original like couch. And can we just give a shout out to the N64 for being like an amazing multiplayer system? Like obviously the four player, you know, whatever. You needed a multi-tap for PlayStation. It was just a pain in the butt.
Yep.
But the N64 was just such a great multiplayer system. Mario Party, Mario Kart. Oh,
except the really weird controller it came with.
But the thing is, if you play it with the games it's designed for, it's actually not bad.
But I'm like, okay, I get the two handles, but why do I have a third hand coming out of my stomach? What's with that third thing in the middle? I'm like, who's using that?
Jared, could you please?
What, you guys don't have that?
If you're going to criticize the N64, could you please not use a criticism that literally everyone has been saying for the past 20, 30 years?
Well, if everyone's saying it, well, there's a reason why controllers don't do that anymore.
Oh, fluff off.
Yeah, I think Nintendo, like, because for me, like, my hand would get wedged in between the left and the middle prong when you're using the thumbstick, and it hurt. Like, I was generally in, like, we used to have Nintendo thumb or Sega thumb when I was a kid. This gave me like pinched plastic.
Anyone who's played Mario Party on N64,
yeah, he knows it.
There's a YouTube video. Nick, there's a YouTube video called "How to Be a '90s Gamer," and they make a joke about that playing the game. It's really funny.
So the thing I really liked about the N64 controller in GoldenEye is the Z trigger. It felt like you were pulling the trigger of a gun. Like the way it was positioned, it felt like you were pulling a trigger, and it felt really cool to do that, you know. And like the switching, and just this was a really fun game. Like I've gone back and played it a couple of times. I think the last time I really played it I had some people over for like a birthday party in like the late 2010s, and we had a GoldenEye party, and the game was fun, but it was a bit awkward to control.
Yeah, and it just said, "I just used my third leg." Lol. Honestly, that was about what I was gonna say. So.
Oh my God, Jared.
Well, for those of you that don't know, I actually grew a third leg. It's just what happened is that it got injured doing this constantly. So what I had to do, I had to get it amputated.
Jared, you don't get the joke. You don't get the joke.
Yeah. I can do push-ups without using my arms. Thanks, Nintendo.
No. The only thing that makes Chris grow a third leg is when he sees news from the other universe about how Firestorm 2 is coming out.
Oh no!
Oh boy!
Firestorm 2 is coming out for the Xbox One, and he's actually like his doppelganger is the director of the game. He's still at the studio.
Oh God!
You feel bad for that doppelganger, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, this game really helped pioneer the 4-player deathmatch kind of thing. Because before that, the multiplayer gaming like this was the realm of computers. You had LAN parties like Quake LAN parties, Doom LAN parties. But like GoldenEye was really what brought that experience to the home consoles.
Yep.
And because of GoldenEye 64. It did actually set a lot of the templates. And here's the funny thing about GoldenEye 64 that you guys might not know. The multiplayer was actually coded in at the last minute.
Oh yeah, I heard the story.
The best part of the game was the last minute.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like, something where they could have gotten into legal trouble or something like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. It was that bad. And there's actually, like, the history of GoldenEye is actually really fascinating. Like, originally it's supposed to be an on-rail shooter. And at one point, like, because you know those, like, attachments that went onto the bottom of the N64? Like, I think it was, like, the Rumble Pack. You would actually take down and, like, do that to reload, which would have been cool. Yeah, like, that's the thing I love about this era is there's so many, like, really great ideas. Like, I remember Hideo Kojima talking on, like, during the Snatcher days. When like he was developing Snatchers for like the PCX where it's like coming on floppies, he actually wanted to manufacture Snatcher on like a certain type of floppy to where as you played it and the disc would heat up, I think it would either have like release a smell or like an image or something on the disc for extra immersion. Like, holy crap! It's all those kind of ideas that can only exist in that era of gaming where like. There's all these different like things that you could actually innovate on.
Games just became too expensive to make, and too many parasitic money bean counters got into the industry, and everything.
Not only that, but it's streamlined. Like the whole entire gaming process is streamlined. How we look at games, how we interact. Like there's literally a standard control scheme for first-person shooter games that no one deviates from.
Exactly. Yeah, and it hurts because when the suits call the creative shots, you get creative stagnation, and that's what we're seeing now.
Like Halo and 343.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Like I think the worst thing that happened to Halo was when Microsoft opened up their 343 studios and gave it to them.
And what's kind of funny is that with 343, everyone's like, Halo's gotten better since they fired the old like executive suite. They're like, you're gone.
Well, basically, Microsoft is like they're basically like, I don't care what you have to do, I don't care how much money you have to spend, fix this shit.
Yeah.
Because here's what people have to understand about Halo. Halo is Microsoft's like big game, and if Microsoft can't sell Halo, that's a problem.
Yeah, dude, you're totally right.
Halo was supposed to be a launch title on the Series X. It's just it got delayed because of development hell, and that's partly why the Series X didn't have like explosive sales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because people buy it just for the new Halo.
Yeah. Well, that's how consoles work. Like people didn't buy the NES. People bought Super Mario Brothers. People didn't buy the original Xbox.
And this is the thing with like every time you have an argument of like, oh, we should just do away with exclusives. Exclusives are outdated.
No, they're
Anyone
not.
who says that is a fucking moron.
Yeah, they don't know what goes into multi-platform development.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of companies are doing away with exclusive because Halo is not exclusive to the console anymore.
Yeah, it's a PC game.
Yeah, a lot. They're starting to go. Okay, do we really want to do this? I mean, Spider-Man goes to PC shortly after release.
And well, here's the problem. Microsoft is they're pretending to be like, oh, we're not even competition with Sony and Xbox has been saying that literally that is their cope for the Xbox One feeling so bad. Like, we're not even competition with them anymore, so it doesn't really matter that our console fails. Like, and here's the thing: they're making this big push with Game Pass. It still could blow up in their faces. Like, even Phil Spencer has said about, oh, if Game Pass fails, we'll just exit. I think that's more just him being whiny.
Well, to add to your the Game Pass stuff, Game Pass hurts game developers. Nobody wants to talk about it, but everybody in the industry is like, this freaking Game Pass is hurting our sales. It's hurting our company. Like, we can't get out of it. It's like knowing that you've got some terminal illness and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it's gonna come to a head. It's like I think, like, here's the thing: we're not heading towards a gaming crash. So all the doomsayers saying that, shut the frick up. What we are heading for is a crash of AAA gaming. Because we're getting to the point, like with Baldur's Gate, I called it a AA plus game, where it's more than a AA, but it's not quite AAA, but it's dang close.
Yep.
And we are getting to the point where AA studios like Larian and plenty of others are able to produce near AAA experiences. To the point where it's just going to get even more proliferated. And like indie games, like look at the quality of indie games like 10 years ago versus now. It is astounding how far the indie game industry has come. And it's not just the rise of technology; it's also experience, but also the maturation of tools, the availability of tools.
Yeah, it's the availability of tools mixed with the fact that because of those tools becoming more and more available, the people who are actually passionate about, making games and making the stuff they want to see can very easily get their hands on the tools and just start building their own experience.
And it's not just that. You have a lot of the industry veterans leaving mainstream and going into indie. Like, look at Iga Kurashi. He basically got not fired from Konami, and he went straight and formed his own indie studio. And Bloodstained, is it perfect? No. Is it fun as hell? Yes. It feels like a Castlevania game. And look at like what's happened with Suikoden. Like, a lot of the Suikoden devs are doing Euclid Chronicles, and we're seeing that a lot more now, where these industry devs are going in indie, and you don't think they're not mentoring the next generation. They are totally doing that.
Actually, I'd like to term something here real quick, because I honestly think we should probably correct the misnomer of any video game crash at this point. It's going to be a video game balkanization is what it's going to be. And for those who are history buffs, I'm not going to do the whole big long spiel, but essentially the Balkans were one big country called Yugoslavia, and they basically shattered into various city-states that became their own countries. I think that AAA is going to see its own balkanization, where all of the studios and all of the actual talent is going to break off and do its own stuff and build their own studios.
Yeah, there's been way too many merges, and this is becoming a ship that is becoming unsustainable.
Look at Microsoft.
Look at Embracer. Look at Embracer.
Oh yeah.
Embracer is the harbinger. Like they are the first. They're the canary in the coal mine right now. For those who don't know, Embracer is selling off most. Like, they were buying up everything. They were just like Hoover vacuum of stuff. Now they're selling everything off. Well, that was a long time coming. That was. But like Microsoft is going to do the same thing. There's going to come a point where, like, they're going to spin off Activision, ZeniMax, or whatever. Disney is probably going to be doing like if we're going to do like jump medias. Disney is going to be doing that here in the next 3 years, I imagine. 2 years, maybe. I don't know.
Well, it's like anybody that watch it or visits sites like LinkedIn and knows people who are in the industry. It is a bloodbath right now. I do not envy. I have like here's the thing is there's a lot of worthless jackoffs in the industry that are making way too much money and are in positions of power they shouldn't be in. And those guys have been steering ships into icebergs for years now. But there are a lot of hardworking people who they're the ones that were carrying like the Atlas like levels of burden onto these games, like getting them to limp across the finish line because of poor design decisions. Kind of like how you were talking about how GoldenEye's multiplayer was like the last minute, despite it being the best freaking part of the game. There are things like that happen all the time, and these people like have no work-life balance or whatever. And I am looking at LinkedIn, and everybody is laid off. There's a little green tag you can get that says like open for employment opportunities or whatever. And I'm looking through my friends list, and it's like bringing tears to my eyes because all of them have it.
Well, here's the thing about GoldenEye and the multiplayer. So the thing is, GoldenEye was developed at Rare, a studio that they worked themselves like they're their employees to death, but they valued innovation. And so they worked at a studio because the thing you got to realize about GoldenEye, that game came out 2 years before Tomorrow Never Dies. Basically, Rare told the studio, just take your time, make a good game. Like literally, if anyone else, like you have to have that game out. It came out 2 years after the movie. Okay.
Yep. Well, you know why that is? It's because of public trading.
Of what?
Public trading. Shareholders want to see their quarterly revenue increases, so they're like, has to come out now. And it's like, dude, I don't think you understand. You can lose money this quarter and gain 4 times the money 2 quarters from now, and they don't see that because it's all about short-term games.
Yeah. See, like I said, that's a problem with a lot of like business is short-term gains. Like, oh, we need to bigger profitability. Let's gut our entire staff of this division. Like, oh, all that payroll. Oh, look, we're more profitable than ever, but we just literally sunk the ship.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, you want to talk about canary in the coal mine? The biggest one of all of this is EA. I mean, literally, you can look at its studio kill list and see that it's a mile freaking long.
Oh, speaking of EA, have you heard like Disney was considering buying EA?
Oh,
I'm not surprised.
Which I'm like, no, because after the way they keep bungling Star Wars, I'm like, I don't want them being the Star Wars developer.
No.
Yeah, really.
No.
So, Nix, you've been really silent this whole time. What are some of your favorite multiplayer memories?
So, I ended up, you see the links from me from the private chat.
I do.
They're Sonic links.
Of course.
Well, actually, funny thing about that is, I only just remember. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yes. I love this game. This is my favorite Sonic game. It's
Where's
Shadow,
that
but
damn
with guns.
Chaos.
Yes. Edgelord Shadow.
No, but remember the intro cutscene that would play during this entire like thing where it's like the heavy metal music. Shadow is like cocking an M4, and I'm like, oh, this is dope.
I'm sorry,
Jared,
this is the most
I love
early.
this game.
This is the most early 2000s game ever. I'm sorry.
It really is, but I love it dearly.
I still listen to the OST to this day. I have the playlist in one of my YouTube channels where it's just like, oh, I'll scroll to this because I'm feeling a little edgy today. I'm feeling I need some rock and roll in my life. I need to play some Shadow the Hedgehog OST.
So
I'm sorry. I just find it funny that like everyone's like, oh, this game's so bad, it's so edgy. Meanwhile, everyone grew up and was like, yeah, that's why I love it.
Yeah. I mean, look at the tribal tattoo. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I actually had a necklace with that symbol on it. My brother found it at a country music festival thing and bought it for me.
Oh my god.
And by the way, Nick, this was the first game I had played that had played with the multiple endings depending on your choices game.
Yeah, were you good or bad? Yeah, who'd you side with?
Or
most
neutral.
of the time, I was good, and then I was evil, and then I was just neutral.
Yeah.
So Jared, are you saying you were the bad guy?
No, I'm not saying that.
No. No.
But most of my memories come from me with my brothers because I did not have friends growing up, especially not friends who played video games. And I grew up in a very backwater community, like way out in the boonies of Canada. So it's even worse for me.
Oh, you're a
Sorry.
hillbilly.
No kidding,
Pretty
eh?
much. But my earliest memories of multiplayer was with my older brother playing Rampage.
Oh, yes. Ralph for the win. Uh-oh.
What?
Nick,
I guess
you are
we,
muted.
Yeah, sorry, family.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh man, I she's more of a
But-
Lizzie fan.
But and we'd play Xena on the Nintendo 64.
Oh dear
And-
God, that game is terrible.
I love it.
Shocks are the mighty.
But
Oh dear God.
with that, and then we ended up going into the GameCube
Guys,
era,
this is good.
where
Okay, wait. Before we do that, there's another N64 game we gotta shout out.
Which is?
Oh.
oh god,
By the way,
Pokemon
what's
Stadium.
well, what's funny for Halo, they released the update, and so they added the ability to use like campaign AI in the multiplayer maps. You can like bring in like Covenant soldiers to fight you and the other people. Some people made Pokemon in Halo.
Yes.
So who
my
who
brothers
remembers-
and I are not allowed to play Pokemon Stadium anymore.
Why
Really?
not?
So we used to play it a lot, especially with my older brother's friends growing up. We'd have like little tournaments, and especially with Smash Bros. But this is mostly Pokemon Stadium's problem with Pokemon Stadium. We get so into the games that while we were supposed to be cooking pizza in the oven,
Oh,
we'd
boy.
end up burning it to a crisp.
I know where this is going. Yeah, exactly.
Gotta capture him.
Speaking of Pokemon, who here played like Leaf Green?
Oh yeah.
Fire
Yeah.
Red, actually.
I'll
Alright, so
pretend I
this is-
didn't hear that.
This is what separates the kids from the adults.
Oh my gosh, I hate games that make you do that.
I don't like this. This is so much anxiety, and I'm not even playing it.
I never had enough memory.
I'm only really doing the audio like for a split second because I don't want to get copyright thrown.
Yeah.
At that
But yeah,
moment, stream goes down.
Oh my God,
Oh, yeah.
I remember this one.
They're all hypnotizing the Neutronian ball.
All right,
uh,
Chris, you gotta go.
Yeah, sorry to leave early. Birthday stuff. I'll hopefully I can catch the rest of the stream later on this evening.
Yep, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, like Nix, do you remember playing these mini games?
Have a good one.
Very vaguely. I haven't
Chris,
played
you
in
said
so
it was your
long.
birthday? Well,
He left.
I guess he hopped out before he could answer, but I think he said it was his birthday stuff, so I wanted to wish him a happy birthday before he left.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday. But yeah, I played.
Oh wait.
And
wow.
copyright
That-
struck.
That was my favorite mini game right there, by the way.
Watch, we're gonna get like taken down for like putting like pornography on YouTube.
I mean, we all know Lickitung is everyone's favorite Pokemon. I mean, am I right, Nix?
Just like her favorite comic is Avengers 200. I'm sorry, I saw an opening, I had to go for it.
Jared, why do you gotta be mean to that girl like that? I mean, seriously.
Nobody's paid me to review it yet, so I'm in the clear.
Oh, that day will come, Nix. That day will come.
But like, so you said you talk about Leaf Green, but like, I don't think you haven't seen like the actual Pokemon Green.
Is it good for the environment? Is that what it's called? Green?
No, so basically what happened in Japan, you had two versions that came out originally, red and green, and they were buggy as crap. And then they had Pokemon Blue came out. Pokemon Blue is the version that the international version, like our red and blue are based off of Pokemon Blue.
Oh,
Like you notice how the front sprites look a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
I also
how
love.
weird-
I love when people bring up. When you think about Pokemon, it encourages animal slavery and dog fighting.
Oh, jeez.
When you think about it, they have a point. You're enslaving animals and making them fight, and then feeding them ground up candies made from destroyed Pokemon. It's a really interesting IP.
I mean, you go further
I
back enough in the
guess.
lore, people apparently would bury Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
That's
I mean,
all kinds of what?
Gardevoir, Lopunny, anybody?
I mean, there's a
Okay.
theory that Ash's father is actually the mime that his mother has, and that's why he can understand Pokemon.
I mean, we all know that, like, the only reason Professor Oak sent Ash on his journey is so he could bang his mom.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, go encounter a deadly terrorist organization. I'm gonna get acquainted with your mother.
I mean, if you look at the anime, it's even more blatant because, like, they're taking vacations together.
Oh,
dear
here's a
God.
Pokemon game that I don't know if you guys, but this is not multiplayer, but still, who here played Pokemon Snap?
I have. I trust me. I played that. Who remembers the kiosk from Blockbuster back in the day?
I remember the Blockbuster store, not the kiosk.
Yeah, same.
And who has played the sequel, New Pokemon Snap? It's actually pretty good.
I'm the guy that when
Still
I
waiting
would
for
play
a sequel to
Pokemon Snap,
Pokemon Channel.
I'm the guy that when I would play Pokemon Snap, I would just snap random photos and not care. I'd be like, snap, 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 snap. I'm like a tourist on vacation.
So
Pokemon
who
V
remembers?
Conquest. That's the right title you want in a kids show about loving your animals. Conquest.
Who remembers this game?
I
Oh my
actually
God,
do.
I had this
actually
game.
remember back with my rare game hunting days that I specifically sought out this one.
This is actually a really good game. I've played it. I've owned it. It's really good. It's basically a tactical Pokemon RPG set in like it's like Nobunaga era Japan. In fact, you actually fight Nobunaga.
Yeah, it's essentially like Nick said. It's a Pokemon TRPG set in the Sengoku Jidai.
Senko Dagaiku. We're both butchering it, so
Yeah, the Warring States period.
Mhm.
And ironically enough, even though this was a relatively decent hit in Japan, this bombed in America, so it is actually very hard to find nowadays. It's considered a very rare title.
Do you know
I don't
what's
know
a
about very
game?
rare, but
Do you know what's a Pokemon game that made me almost throw my DS out a window? Was Pokemon Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I hate
yeah.
it.
That was the most infuriating thing ever. Cause legit, what happened was, I would be drawing it. I'm about to catch a really tough Pokemon. I'm drawing it. It would get to 0. In other words, I would be done. Then the Pokemon would move all of a sudden and break my chain. I'm like, are you kidding me?
There was a certain point I couldn't even get past. I don't even remember why I couldn't get past it, but there was a certain point that I could just never beat very early on into the game, and I'd just give up and I'd be like, nah, this
Mhm.
isn't worth it.
Yeah, I'm like,
You're
I'm
not
done.
worth my tears.
I'm just gonna play Diamond for you know what I had for Diamond. I had the action replay, so I had like all level 100 shiny Pokemon, and I would like go. I went to the Elite Four and just one shotted all of them. And the fun part,
Good
I love the
days.
captions because if you one shot someone, the game would legit say it's not very effective, and I'm like, not very effective, my ass.
So I recently started playing Pokemon Y again. So like my history of Pokemon is I played Gen 1 and 2 and loved it. And I took like a long break, and then I finally around the 2010s I got a 3DS and I bought Pokemon Y. And that was like my reintroduction to Pokemon. So yes, I have some nostalgic stuff for Gen 6. And I was going back to it, and it's like, oh my god, this game is still really fun. And like the visuals actually look really good. Like they got like really nice camera movements. And I'm thinking, like, why is this 3DS version look so good? And you compare it to like Scarlet and Violet, it just feels like the recent games are just soulless. Like they have no, like they just kind of like there's like this X factor, which I got the X factor for like if you play Pokemon Legends Arceus, it has that soul to it. Like I love Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like the game looks terrible and it runs even worse. But like Pokemon Legends Arceus just seems to kind of have like that, like it has like that feel of innovation to it, you know. Who here's played Legends Arceus?
No, I had an Arceus in Diamond, and I won, and I had that at level 100 in Shiny.
But like the game looks like, but the game like it feels like actually innovative, you know. Like
yeah, that's cool.
But like the catching mechanic is really good. You actually have to sneak up on the Pokemon and throw a Pokeball, and if you anger them too much, they could actually hurt you.
So it actually actually what this game encouraged you to do is walk up to random animals and throw things at them.
Yes.
Yes, actually, yes.
That's funny. So you're gonna abduct animals, and if they don't come quietly, you're gonna throw stuff at them.
Actually, yes. Yeah, just
That's
like
hilarious.
Like honestly, look at this footage. It doesn't actually look half bad, but like yeah, I played it and it's here comes the catching tutorial, and you'll see like what I mean by that. Like also this game is an isekai, by the way.
What does that mean?
Otherworld.
Nyx.
Someone gets tossed into a fantastical world that is not their own, typically through death.
So it's essentially a
By the hands of a
game.
truck.
Great.
Time travel, really, actually.
Time travel.
Well, for this one, yeah, time travel, but it's usually you're thrown into another world.
By the way, fun fact, you know they established a multiverse in Pokemon?
What?
Yeah, they did that as they did that as early as Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Like the whole Delta episode deals with multiverses.
Yeah, because they
Is
were. I
everything in
think
the multiverse now?
no, I think they were trying to explain how like ultimate evolutions happen, even though we've never heard of them.
Well, no, well, they first started talking about Oris, but that was before. I think you're talking about the Sun and Moon storyline, which, yeah, but yeah, check this out, Jared. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. You're like, you were right. You were right on the money.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised PETA hasn't gone like, are you kidding me?
Oh, trust me, they hate Pokemon. They hate
They've made it known.
Mm.
But like, PETA abuses animals and kills them, so like, screw PETA.
By the
PETA
way,
runs kill
speaking of Pokemon multiplayer games, who played Pokemon Go back in the day?
I did for a little bit.
I play Pokemon Go.
What's kind of funny? I had I got a shiny Arceus once. I was the best at naming Pokemon. First, I would name them after Halo characters, and then I started giving them funny nicknames. Like I called Hypno-chan Jackie Chan and Hypno Lee Bruce Lee, and then I named
So original.
I named Absol Dem Abs. I named my my shiny Charizard Smaug. And,
Here, do you have a Switch? Here, do you want a Switch?
No, I've told you this many times. I don't have a Switch.
Yeah, I would say to get a Switch, but like they're probably going to be doing a Switch 2 next year, so I'd say just wait for that.
Well, the first game I'm getting if I get a Switch is going to be Ultimate Alliance 3 because for some reason their Infinite Wisdom they decided to make that an exclusive like idiots.
Yeah, I do like the Switch. I don't play it as much as I probably should, but I do like the whole thing. I don't know, like the rise of like the PC handhelds, like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally. I think the next few years are going to be kind of interesting for the handheld space, like because the handheld space was kind of dead in like the later half of the 2010s, and then like the Switch kind of did that, and then like it was still dead. But like with the Steam Deck, and now you got like the emulation handhelds that are really coming out. The handheld space is really interesting. I've always been a handheld guy, honestly.
By the way, Nick, you'll love this. I named my Lucario Rio Snyder. I had to fit in Zack Snyder. I
You know what I miss?
I named my Ho-Oh Rodan. I had just seen Godzilla.
Well, no, what you should name your Ho-Oh is Phoenix Press.
Nah,
Ho-Oh is literally Phoenix.
I don't care. I named my Torterra Chia back, like a Chia pet.
Looking at like watching this game actually kind of makes me want to boot it up again, just because.
Oh, you'll love this. I named my final evolution of Trico High Ground.
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
So no matter what, if I'm in a battle, I will always have the high ground.
So I did play through Violet, and it was fine for the most part. Like they did innovate to a degree. I feel like Legends Arceus, which is such a big step forward, and it's like Scarlet and Violet took some of the lessons from this game, but like not enough of it. Like they changed the formula so much, but it still felt like Pokemon. I really hope they do more Legends games, honestly.
I feel like the lesson that you're supposed to take away from the games, Scarlet and Violet, works better with Scarlet because you see the sort of main villain chick. No spoilers in case anyone haven't played it. Is super obsessed with the past in Scarlet. In the future, I guess chick for Scarlet, dude for never mind. But like the obsession with the past and how you should move forward and look towards the present is a way better lesson than don't worry about the future, worry about the present.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I like they didn't really think it through. They had this great idea for Scarlet, and they're like, oh well, we should probably make some changes for Violet. And they're like, you know what? We'll make the main villain motivation about the future. And the lesson is, don't constantly like look towards the future. Just keep yourself in the present.
The problem with Scarlet and Violet is they tried to do something similar to what they do with Black and White, where have slightly different stories. Like I think one is about truth, one is about ideals in terms of Black and White. And I don't think it really worked out that well. I played Scarlet, so that's what I played. I do think it has some cool innovations, like the tackling things in any order was kind of cool. The fact that the quality of life was really, really good. Like you can access your Pokemon anywhere, like your bank anywhere and whatnot. It's really good. The crafting mechanic. The thing that I always didn't like was they took away the infinite TMs. But I will say, after playing Scarlet, the fact that you can craft TMs and it's not that hard to craft them, I will say makes for more engaging gameplay. Because you're like, oh, I have to hunt down this specific Pokemon and beat it in order to get the crafting materials. Like, okay, that makes for more engaging gameplay. Like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I appreciate that you can summon your Pokemon out of the wild and let them fight their own battles.
Yeah,
you
the auto
battle.
It's great. It's great for leveling up. That's a great the quality of life were great. And the I would say my favorite storyline was probably the path where you fight the big Pokemon, the Path of Titans. That was
awesome.
Where that really tugged at my heartstrings with the dog.
Yeah.
The music every time just got me.
Honestly, I think because I really like exploring in video games, like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are two of my favorite because I just love to go off and explore my own little path. I love that you could do that with Scarlet. What I didn't like though is after you go into Area Zero, the big freighter area, for the first time, it kind of loses its appeal.
Yeah, it's unless you're looking for a specific Pokemon, there's no really reason. There's no because at least with the open world, there's all these little nooks and crannies. You can find little tower, do little adventures. Oh, I climb up a tower. Oh, there's a TM there. Oh, there's a rare item there. Even Pokemon Legends Arceus, there's all these little mini areas, mini zones that you can explore. Another thing I like about Legends Arceus is the mini quest option, which I think they kind of brought back for Scarlet. I feel like I'm kind of interested to see like the next Pokemon game, what they do, which is probably going to be a new generation, because like I feel like they're kind of starting to get on the right path, because Sword and Shield was what a big step back. Like that, like, I tried playing Shield, that thing was so on the rails. It was like the wild area, like it ran like crap, and just like the Ocarina of Time tree was real. For those who don't know, if you go into Pokemon Sword and Shield, go to the wild area, look at any of the trees, and you look at the texture they use for the models. Compare that tree texture to Ocarina of Time, a game that literally came out 25 years before this one, or 20 years at least, 25 years. The Ocarina of Time texture looks better.
That's sad. I didn't even play Pokemon Sword and Shield. My older brother got it, and he's like, "Oh, you could only borrow it." Blah blah. And I was like, "Keep that heresy as far away from me as possible. You're not bringing back all of the previous Pokemon like they do in literally every other game. What is the point?"
Dexit was kind of stupid. And they still haven't. Like, I don't like the fact that all my good Pokemon are hidden behind a paywall. Like, look at that. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a comparison of a tree. Like, Jared, just look at this.
Mm-hmm.
That is from Sword and Shield. A game came out, like, what, 2020, roughly? And this is Ocarina of Time.
Mm.
Look how, like, that actually looks better.
Mm-hmm.
How crazy is that?
I don't want to go back and play Ocarina of Time.
Like, oh my god. Like, just look at the tree textures. Like, this looks all washy and muddy and whatnot. And this one, like, you could say it's a resolution difference, but like the texture of this one is just so more detailed. Like, you can tell it gets wrapped around a little bit, but how sad is that? Like seriously. But yeah, anyway, so let's kind of start wrapping it up here. So Jared, anything else you want to say?
It was great to see the other games that you all enjoyed, and Nick, it's nice to know that any questions that I've ever had about you were just answered by your game choice. Well done.
All right, Nix, what are your final words?
Honestly, I feel like we should get more multiplayer games back in style.
We should. We really should.
And games that are more like innovative, like how they used to like use microphones on the controllers, and like you'd have to do special things with the controllers for certain parts of the game. I miss that.
Yeah. Sharon, what anything you want to say before we take off?
I mean, I just miss the good old days of couch co-op, man. I would love for a game to have an old split screen like, Mario Kart Double Dash, or, have those crazy moments like Pac-Man Fever or some of the GameCube Mario parties. Those games were amazing. And for those who don't remember the days of couch co-op, invite a friend over, grab a controller, or pull up a single player game and tear each other to pieces verbally and steal the controller from each other.
And if you're not doing that, you're not having fun. So,
Skippy.
If you made it this far, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, this has been Nick from the Phoenix Press. And remember, I can only show you the door. Jared likes Super Wonder.